Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AEW Dynamite post-game wrap-up show. I am Excalibur, and I am joined by the legendary voice of wrestling, Jim Ross, and the human suplex machine himself, Taz. And gentlemen, we had some late-breaking news in the broadcast, and this is some pretty big news. Iron Mike Tyson himself will be presenting the TNT Championship to the winner of the tournament final at Double or Nothing. JR, I know you've met Mr. Tyson before. It's an honor and a pleasure to have him here in AEW.
No doubt about it. Mike still is a lightning rod for media and attention. I saw some videos lately of him working out, so he's not coming empty-handed, literally. So that should be fun. But I was on his podcast the other day. Mike's a big fan of AEW, and he made a prediction back in the day that he thought that Jake Hager would beat John Moxley. That didn't come to fruition. But point being is that Mike watches our product, and he'll be a fun addition to our team.
I think it's great. I mean, I've actually, Mike Tyson and I grew up about maybe 6 or 7 miles apart. I never met him. So he was in his prime when I was in my prime, but yet it looks like he could still beat somebody's ass because I saw seeing videos, JR, him training. So when I heard about this news, I mean, it's awesome. I think it's great. I think it's great. It's great for our company. It's great for the new TNT Championship, whoever gets that in the finals between Cody and Archer. So, it's just great. It's good. It's great credibility on that championship.
Taz, when Mike Tyson was in his prime, he owned approximately 120 peacocks. How many peacocks did you own when you were in your prime?
I had a couple of pigeons that were always in my yard. But I think he also believed, whatever, not collect, what's the word? Like he housed pigeons too, not just peacocks.
Yeah. There was a special a couple of years ago about how he's raising pigeons, and that was really cool. And I mean, it's awesome that Mike Tyson will be a part of Double or Nothing May 23rd on pay-per-view, BR Live, or Fight TV internationally. And that's a great segue into our opening segment here tonight. Lance Archer and Jake the Snake Roberts were in the ring, and Jake the Snake, I guess, attempted to justify his actions last week, but Cody really didn't give him a chance to follow it up, Taz.
No, he didn't. I mean, Cody shocked everybody showing up in his big badass Ford truck. I got to get me one of those. I don't know what the model is. I know it's like a very limited edition, but I'm gonna next time I see Cody, I'm gonna see if he'll let me take a spin in his. But anyway, Cody showed up and he wanted to get his hands on Jake because of what happened, with Brandy with the snake and everything. So he wanted to get his hands on Archer, and he had some good exchange with Archer, but he couldn't get to Jake Roberts. But the issue obviously is, with Archer and Cody, and it's become, and you guys did a great job on the call. I mean, explaining the emotion behind this, that it's beyond, I can't remember which one of you cats said it, but it's beyond just about the TNT Championship. It's gotten really personal when someone's wife's involved and then there's a snake involved. It's just insanity. So it just amps this thing up even more. I mean, if Cody could have got a little more piece of Archer, who knows what kind of shape Archer would have been in come Double or Nothing.
Well, I think the issue that this is a new title and it's not established yet. It's going to be a great title for us. But in the meantime, until it gets established, it's all about the personal issue to me. Putting a snake, a live snake over a man's wife is in a business. It shows you just a little step in the direction that Jake will go to make sure his guy wins, and so Jake can make more money. I said this last week. I don't know if it pissed people off or not. I really don't care because it's my opinion. And that basically is Jake Roberts is looking for a massive payday. He may not get that many more opportunities with his track record. Let's be honest about it. And now he's got a meal ticket that is a damn legitimate and genuine meal ticket. So I just think it's a personal issue that's gotten way out of hand. And god dang, guys, we got more broadcasts to do before Saturday night, the 23rd of May. So who knows what's going to happen?
You're right. One thing I want to say though, real quick, Excalibur and JR, like you're right. I agree with everything you said, JR, about Jake Roberts and stuff. Maybe this is his last run, and it's his meal ticket in Archer. But I think we all could agree that Jake Roberts does have Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk Monster, even more motivated, and he's got him locked in right now. I think Jake does deserve credit for that along with Archer's obviously his great gift of being a tremendous athlete and just a mean son of a bitch.
And I think what Jake was alluding to, and I'll try to put it in more PC terms or more delicate terms than Jake did, is that when you get your family involved, when you have your wife as your manager, your valet, whatever role that Brandy fulfills, they are then in place for collateral damage. And I think that's what Jake and Lance did. It's one thing to attack somebody's family when they have no involvement in the pro wrestling business, but to play devil's advocate here, Brandy is a part of AEW. She both on screen and off, and I think Jake is using that relationship to his advantage.
Anything you can do to get Cody's mind off of wrestling and beating a much bigger, powerful guy is a good thing for Jake Roberts. The only thing that Jake said that made a lot of sense was that when you are inside the barricades, it's been this way since my first time I refereed in the 70s. When a fan gets inside the barricade, especially in Mid-South, the old deal was they're paid for. Do whatever you need to do to get them outside that barricade. And that's the underbelly of wrestling. It's not always a great thing, but it's a true statement. When you're inside the barricade, you're paid for. Brandy was inside the barricade, but it still was distasteful. It doesn't give anybody a reason or any good reason to do what Jake did, except for what he accomplished. It pissed off Cody. He's in a different mindset. And when you're that way, you're prone to make mistakes. And the thing about this deal, guys, with Archer, as amazing an athlete and powerful as he is, you only got to make one mistake, and it's over. One mistake. He's not a finesse guy. He's not going to small package your ass to defeat. He's going to knock your ass out with strikes. And one mistake gets just the right leverage, and the match will be over.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I agree. And the thing too, I think we got to say about Brandy, she's alluded to it herself. She's far from a little damsel in distress. I mean, that was a tough deal what happened with her with the snake. But the three of us know, we know Brandy. She's a tough lady. Okay, so I'm sure when she cross paths again with Jake Roberts, she'll have something to say or do. Who knows? But yeah, I agree with you saying, JR, about Lance Archer. It doesn't take much for him to do damage. Cody's got to really be on his toes and try to stay focused and not make this so emotional, to your point.
And I mean, not only that, if you think about Cody's track record inside AEW, when he's in hyper emotional matches, such as when he faced MJF back at Revolution, he tends to fall out of his game plan and make some impulsive decisions that might not necessarily benefit him. And I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all right. I mean, I think Jake and Lance are hoping to take advantage of that, Taz.
You're right, man. Excalibur, you're definitely right. But I really feel that's the business, right? That's the industry. That's pro wrestling. And that's what Cody is. It's an emotional business. And sometimes you have your best matches by bringing that emotion out. There's that fine line to the point you're making, Excalibur, but you got to bring that emotion out. You got it. When it gets personal like this, it makes it even better. But to the point JR was making, Cody has to stay focused on the task at hand, and that's taking that 6'8" mean and nasty son of a bitch in Texan down, which is going to be hard to become the first TNT champion.
Well, after that match, or after that confrontation, I'll say we switched focus to the tag team division here. The Best Friends defeated Jurassic Express, but there was a lot of different threads in this matchup, and it was really interesting to see how it all played out. We had, the primary focus was on the tag team division, the number 2 competitors versus the number 4 in the tag team division, but also we had MJF at ringside. We had Wardlow at ringside attacking Marco Stunt, MJF attacking Jungle Boy, and even Ray Phoenix got involved attacking Orange Cassidy from behind, and they'll face off in that casino ladder match at Double or Nothing. So a lot of moving pieces in this matchup, JR.
Yeah, it was a good match too. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I thought everybody worked hard. There was everything made sense. I like both teams. I think that Best Friends are getting better and better. You see little things that you could, like Taz is trying to help some of these dudes. You see things when you're calling a match, you say, we should have done that. You should be in a different position, but they've gotten much better. And I love this trio, the Luchasaurus guys, because I'm a big Jungle Boy Jack Perry fan. I said on the broadcast, he will be one of the cornerstones, one of the building blocks of our company in the years to come. I truly believe that. And his match with MJF is one at Double or Nothing I'm really looking forward to. So the guys had a real good tag team match. It's too bad one team had to lose. But bottom line is that the tag team division, especially when the Young Bucks come back and Hangman Page comes back and rejoins Kenny Omega, our tag team division is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I agree. The tag team division is legit, and we have some awesome teams. And I too am a big fan of the Jurassic Express. I think you guys, both of you guys, JR Excalibur and obviously Tony Schiavone, there was a lot of moving parts in that match. As you talked about, Excalibur, a lot of stuff on the outside, Ray Phoenix kicking the head off of Orange Cassidy, all of those moving parts. I don't think fans understand from an announcing perspective, when there's all that stuff on the outside happening and you have business take care of on the inside and you have a 3-man booth, that's not easy. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I'm just, for the audience out there watching us, I'm saying you guys deserve credit, because that's not an easy gig to do when you have that many guys competing in a match and involvement on the outside, on the stage, next to the ring. It gets a little, and you have 3 voices at the desk, and you guys did a great job.
Well, appreciate that.
Well, we were all high on Diet Mountain Dew, by the way.
We were in the South. So.
Well, you must have stole mine, because Stevie said there was no more Diet Mountain Dews when I asked him.
It was all in the fridge in the announcer's trailer.
Oh, it was kayfabe. All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the match itself was very, very entertaining match. It showed, it gave everybody a taste of the, what the tag team division here has to offer. But, I think it did a good job in, whatever it was, a 12-minute segment or, however long it was, of setting up so many different stories. Obviously, we're limited to 2 hours a week of on-air showtime. And like JR says, you have to maximize your minutes. And I think this match really maximized the minutes for a lot of intersecting storylines.
Yeah, everybody in the match accounted themselves well. So from the tag team side, again, you got to keep up the wins and losses, because in AEW the ratings mean something. In AEW we have a time limit. How the hell do you have a sporting event and not have a time limit? It's stupid. It makes the fans even be perceived as more dumb, and they're not dumb. So having time limits, and I'm digressing, but I love everybody got their business in. Nice match, and I'm glad we got to call it. Thanks, Taz, for that compliment.
Good job, boys.
And after that, we were on to the women's division, this 4-way matchup that really did have title implications. Hikaru Shida defeated Penelope Ford, also Britt Baker and Chris Statlander, though they weren't pinned. And Shida has been impressive all year long, and it was just a matter of time before she got her hands on Nyla Rose, Taz.
Yeah, and this match was awesome. I mean, you kind of, we talk a lot about what's a match. We see a match on paper. What's it going to be like in a ring? And you kind of had a feeling this match on paper looked great, and while it happened, in the ring, it was excellent. And to your point, there's a lot on the line, and you have the top 4 women going at it, and it's all different dynamics of athletes in there too, from Penelope to the doctor, to Dr. Britt Baker, to Shida, to Chris Statlander, so it's just a good mix, a good chemistry of having a good match. And the lady who's been on top, and Shida, she comes out the victor. And I just think her background and her striking ability just separates her from everyone right now. But you can look at any of those other 3 ladies as, you talk, JR, about Jungle Boy, and I agree. He definitely could be a cornerstone of this company on the male side in the future. And I hope he is. He's a great guy, and he's a hell of a hand, and he's a star. And I think if you look at those other 3 ladies, let's just take Shida out of the equation for a second, because she won. You can look at those other 3 girls as that either of them could be a top tier talent in very near future in AEW.
The match exceeded my expectations. The 4-ways are challenging for experienced guys and gals that have been in a lot of them. They're still daunting. So these women had never been in a 4-way together. I don't think. Excalibur would know that. I don't think so. But the match overachieved. It was better than I thought it might be, and so for that I tip my Jaguars hat.
Well, yeah,
My new
definitely.
favorite football team, by the way.
That's right.
Me too. It's funny you said that. Me too.
Yeah, it's really strange how that works.
I'm also going to start drinking. White Claw. So I can fit in with the talent.
So no more mules.
What?
No more mules? No more Moscow mules?
No. I was lying about the White Claw.
I know.
JR's a company man. How do you think he lasted this long?
Man.
But yeah, it was an impressive 4-way, JR.
Guys, so when they get time to hang around the boss, they love those White Claws, those young talents.
Yeah,
so
I know.
So they got that common.
Well, okay, moving on. Next up on the show, it was tag team action as Santana and Ortiz, in only their, I believe, second tag team match in the year 2020, took on Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega. And for a team that was, very, very quickly thrown together, the team of Hardy and Omega seems to have coalesced pretty well, JR.
Well, first of all, Santana and Ortiz are becoming a really great team. You can tell that they spent some time lifting something. I don't know what it is. Maybe tires off a car. I'm not sure. They've been lifting things since this quarantine, and they're strong. And I love the team. The only thing, the negative I saw, and Taz can explain this to me, the scratching of the back. I asked Tony. He said, "I like that move." I said, "Did anybody ever win with it?" Well, no. I rest my case, Your Honor. So I don't like the scratching of the back because it doesn't leave any marks. This is old school opinion, but the match was excellent. And Kenny Omega got in the ring with a partner, not like he'd ever been in the ring with before, in my estimation. A tag team partner. Matt Hardy is one of the most accomplished tag team guys in the entire business. He stole the show at WrestleManias and those TLC matches and things along those lines. So he's a very experienced partner. Kenny got a break there. Kenny needs his other partner back, though. At some point in time, this tag team champions have got to be together in the same place at the same time. Or if not, strip the goddamn guys of their titles and put them on somebody and have a tournament or something. But Kenny got a break tonight. His partner was there. His partner is good. He's experienced and an equal to victory. And I thought it was a very good tag team match that could have gone either way, quite frankly.
Yeah, I love the match. I'm a fan of all 4 guys. I've had the opportunity to wrestle against Matt Hardy many times in my career, and he's a true pro. And I agree, Jerry, you're right. He's a tag team straight expert, no doubt. He could adapt to someone like a Kenny Omega, and they never worked together as a unit, and they looked cohesive and they looked great. And about the tag team titles, honestly, in my opinion, I think once Hangman's back in the fold, he's one half of the tag team champions. Omega's the other half. We get that. But, you got a lot of tag teams that are building momentum right now. Those titles could be in grave danger when they defend them. So because they might have lost a little steam together. I know they're buddies, Omega and Hangman, but still, they haven't tagged together in quite some time, to the point you're making, JR. About the Tiger Claw gimmick, the scratch gimmick. Yeah, I know, Jay. I know it's a pet peeve of yours. I get it. I know a lot of guys back in the day that would bother him. I've had guys do that move to me. It's not really a move.
You wouldn't even sold it.
Well, shit, I didn't sell.
Sold it to Taz. Don't bullshit anybody.
I didn't shit. I didn't sell pile drivers. Well, wait a minute. Well, I probably wouldn't have sold it, but you might be right. But it's
there. You go.
Okay. But hold on. Let's debate it for a second. So, okay, you said to Shivani on the air, has it ever beaten anyone? And that's a good point. No, that has not. But you could say, well, has the Chop ever beaten anyone? Right? So it's kind of a good transition to hurt your opponent. We don't know what kind of fingernails Ortiz has. I know JR's giving me the side like, oh, come on. And we don't know what his fingernails are like. Maybe he's scratching.
I think he was attacked by a cat when he was a kid.
Maybe.
I think he was attacked by a cat when he was a kid, and he's traumatized. So when he gets stressed out, he scratches people.
Or maybe he's friends with your neighbor.
That's a stupid reason too.
No, but maybe he's friends with your neighbor, JR, in Oklahoma with all those tigers.
Yeah. He maybe got that from watching Exotic Joe.
Wow,
whatever his name is.
We're 10 weeks into the quarantine, and Tad's still making Tiger King references. Well, JR, you did mention that Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy had never teamed before last week in that wild street fight, and I had thought that perhaps Matt Hardy and Santana Ortiz at some point had crossed paths before, and it turns out they've only met one time in the past, and it was in December of 2016 in a 4-way tag team match where Matt and Jeff Hardy took on Santana and Ortiz, who took on Private Party, who took on the Dudley Boys.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right.
Nice.
What an insane match.
I like that.
All I could think of when I saw the result is that Bubba probably just beat the shit out of Private Party for the entire match.
Good chance of that. Good chance of that. Good chance. And then Devon dropped the leg, and then Devon dropped the leg, which feels like a safe falling on you. But that's another topic for another time.
Jim, that was in House of Glory Wrestling in New York. So it's both Santana and Ortiz and Private Party. They spent a lot of time there, and that's where they first met, and that's where they kind of overlapped. And so, yeah, that was a really interesting kind of historical.
House of Glory, Amazing Red, right? House of Glory, Amazing Red. Yeah. Good guy, good dude. Yeah. All right. I didn't know that. Good stat right there, my man. Good job.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
I guess your internet's working.
Well, next up on the show are
JR,
how come I don't have one of those Slobber Knocker shirts? That gets me a little hot. I like that shirt.
Well, you're too goddamn tight to buy one. That's why.
Hey, I'm hold on a second. Wait a minute, man. I'm not a Dynamite broadcaster. I'm on Dark, so I'm kind of second string Jones.
Oh, I'm crying. You touched my heart, Taz.
Maybe
son of a gun, you.
Help a brother. Double X, brother.
You're the king of Tuesday nights, man. You got your own night. You and Excalibur, you rule.
Damn right.
Well, Taz, I can tell you from experience, you don't get paid any extra for doing Dynamite and Dark.
You should know.
Yeah, he does.
Well, next up on the show, speaking of Taz, was our broadcast colleague Taz attempting to reach out to I guess speak sense to Darby Allin, who's very stubborn, shall we say, Taz?
Yeah. And then I noticed right before we started the post show here live, I didn't get a chance to respond, but I didn't get even a chance to read the whole tweet. But it looks like Darby even tweeted something basically telling me, Taz, thanks, but no thanks. And, look, like you guys, I feel that Darby Allin is a special athlete. He's a tremendous competitor. He's a guy also that can definitely be a cornerstone in this company anytime soon. He's excellent. But I do think, like a lot of current wrestlers, no matter if they're younger or older, guys make mistakes. I made mistakes. We all make mistakes. But, sometimes you need someone that's a little more seasoned that can maybe give a little advice. So that's all. I'm just trying to help him. But, I mean, it seems like you don't want any help. And maybe I've been a little forward or a little aggressive with trying to help him. But that's kind of my nature. I don't mean nothing by it. I mean, JR knows me a long time. He knows that I'm not mean-spirited like that. Excalibur, you're just getting to know me, but I can be it's a New York thing. I'm a little more aggressive trying to help. And I did put him on the spot a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. So I did apologize tonight on the show. I mean, but I guess that fell on deaf ears. I mean, I guess no good deed goes unpunished. I don't know.
It's a tough position to be in, but it's a position you put yourself in, Taz.
Because I'm a giving man, Excalibur, because I'm trying to help. That's why. Come on,
you remind me of that great beloved character that grew up in Red Hook. His name was Father Cernicia. What a wonderful man. He played it forward back when playing it forward wasn't even cool.
Yeah,
And I know
this
you
is
take
true.
after that guy. Father,
I mean,
great man.
yeah, good point. As far as Darby, listen, he's going to be successful with or without my help. I get it, but he did, he had a chance to win that match in the semifinal to go on to the finals, and he lost. And he lost on a simple, basic amateur wrestling move, just a turn of the body. There's all different types of tilts in folk style wrestling or amateur wrestling, and that's what Cody did. He had the momentum of Darby's body. He just turned. That's a simple thing. I mean, Darby wrestled. He was a stud youth wrestler, which I learned today. On the show in the state of Idaho, and that's cool. But then he should have known how to get off his friggin' back and not get pinned. And that's a fact. And he didn't. He got pinned, and he's out.
He would have finished higher Taz in third, but in Idaho he was known for his potatoes. That's what happened.
Boom, boom.
Well, speaking of somebody known for his potatoes, MJF laid in some big shots on Lee Johnson and came away with a victory. And Jim, if I had to put money on it, I would say that MJF probably wasn't injured.
No, probably not. But he talked a good game, and he got to stay relevant on television, giving his weak-ass updates about his hangnails and his shaving cut and things of that nature.
Oh, you're being a little tough on my local Long Island guy. You're being a little stiff on him, Jack. Come on now. Come on. He could have had a problem with his...
So you're condoning that? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I thought you guys from Long Island were tougher than that.
Well, I know I am, but I know this much. MJF showed tonight. He showed Lee Johnson. He's pretty friggin' tough. I mean, he beat up on that young man. A 22-year-old has got a great upside in Lee Johnson, but he could not get out of the blocks.
Yeah.
And and that's what you do when you're going. And MJF has, MJF's a young guy. He has more experience than Lee. He has more big match experience too. And that's what you do, in my opinion, when you wrestle someone that is maybe not as experienced as you or not as seasoned in a big moment under the bright lights of Aew Dynamite, on TNT. The kid Johnson probably, I know he's been on the show before, but he's might have been a little bit nervous because MJF can get in your head. He kicked the shit out of that kid. And that's how you do it. That's what you do. So I actually loved what MJF did. So maybe as far as the broadcast team, I mean, you guys just.
Oh, I like what he did. I know he's your boy. I get it. Everybody from Long Island's your boy. Boomer, Tyson, MJF, Father Sanichia, and Taz. They're all your boys. I get it.
Boomer is my boy, actually, on the shoot. Boomer is my boy. Yeah.
I thought he's a little manipulator. He's a shrewd operator. He's a hell of an athlete. There's no doubt about it. He's another guy that's somewhere down the road and you say, well, who's the AEW heavyweight champion? Well, that's MJF. And we'll believe it because it's true. He's that good, but he's still getting there. And his match with Jungle Boy, as I said earlier, is one of my favorite matches to look forward to at Double or Nothing because they're young, they're hungry, and you damn sure know they both want to steal the show. Win or lose, they want to steal the show. And that's what makes, to me, one of the great things that makes this brand so amazing is that talents are hungry. They want to steal the show. They're not on a comfort zone payroll. They're looking to earn more. And the way you're going to earn more is get more touches and have more results, more positive results. And I think we'll get that at Double or Nothing. But I'm a big fan of MJF. He's tough.
Yeah, no, I know you're a fan of his work. I know most people don't like his personality, and I get that. He's a little abrasive. But listen, like we've talked about, from no particular order, from the Jungle Boys to the Darby Allins, even though he disrespected me, to the MJFs, to the Sammy Guevaras. I mean, we have a litany of tremendous young talent that are stars now. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, to me, I don't feel like those guys have great potential. I feel like they're in their potential. Like, I remember when I was a young wrestler, and I was coming up and stuff like that, guys would say, oh, you got great potential. And then once I got the ECW, it's like, oh, you got great potential. I'm like, damn, I'm holding the TV belt. I'm doing pretty well. I'm beating some good guys. Frig that. I don't have potential. I'm in it right now. So I put myself in those. I'm just giving my opinion. So that's why I look at some of those young guys like a Darby Allin where I'm trying to help him because he can be a world champion, and I'm sure he'll do it without my help, but maybe if he had a veteran's help, he'd get it done quicker.
Well, I think
Good point.
one of the interesting things for me is, obviously I came into the business a little after both of you guys, but when I came in, it was still very much the attitude, the prevailing attitude by those guys on the top of the card was that you're not supposed to steal the show unless you're in the main event. That's reserved exclusively for the main event.
Mhm.
And here in AEW, we have it's an environment where that mentality is not there anymore. Everybody has the opportunity to pick up the ball and run with it, and some guys do it better than others. And I think MJF has been one of those guys.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I'd love to get JR's take on that, because he's worked a lot more territories than I have over the years, and from everywhere. And but you're right, Excalibur. I mean, I remember seeing it, in a lot of locker rooms and a lot of companies where it's like, don't do this, don't do that. You're the second match, you're the first match, you're the third match, and you're kind of like thumb down on you because you can't steal a pop and can't steal spots from those guys in the main event. And to your point, Excalibur, it is not like that in this company. Guys just freaking go balls to the wall. But JR, you've seen that a lot over the years, like what Excalibur's alluding to about don't do too much if you're in the first or second match, yada, yada.
When I first started doing pay-per-views, back when they were in the inception of them, they were basically booked where you start off slow and you end with your crescendo, your main event at the last match before you go home. We stopped doing that in WWE when I was there. The greatest illustration I can tell you is having Eddie Guerrero in a match to open the show, because he was all pissed off. And I remember one of the radicals said, you need to go talk to Eddie because he's angry. He feels disrespected. Until I explained to him that the concept of being on first on pay-per-view, the new philosophy was that's the second most important match on the show, because you set the tone. You move the needle for the first time. You get the fans' heart beating a little faster. And then you can walk back to the curtain, Eddie, and say, follow that, boys, follow that shit. And that's what he did. And so I think that it's a different philosophy now. So, and I say this, if a guy in the third match is outworking the guy in the main event, then maybe we've got the roles reversed. Maybe the guy in the third match should be in the main event. That's called competition. And nobody's position is safe. And I love that. You're going to earn it every time you go out. And at Double or Nothing, we're going to see a lot of first, because I really believe we're going to see a lot of guys try to steal the show, and long before the main event happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, in WWE, I didn't get that memo, by the way. Just saying, I should have had one of the radicals come talk to you for me. So, just saying, it wasn't your fault, but I'm just saying, because I felt that. So, I mean, hey, and I love Eddie, was my friend, and God rest his soul, he's a legend. I've wrestled him a lot, tagged with him. Not many were as good as Eddie, but I'm just saying there was that. I'm not blaming you. You were in charge of talent, but there was a vibe there with some of the top guys where they didn't want that. Now, I believe you're right, what you're saying, Eddie.
Well, those top guys are insecure. They're goddamn insecure, those top guys. Worried about somebody outperforming them that's wussy stuff, man.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Suck them up, drop your load and go get it. And
Yeah.
that's what I like this. Our whole attitude's that way.
Yes,
The better
I agree.
you are, the more success you're going to have, man. And nobody's being protected. The only thing I wouldn't do if I was somebody would use the paradigm shift as a finisher. That might not be good unless your name is John Moxley.
I agree with that.
Just saying.
Agree with you on that.
Well, from there, we had Le Champion himself. He, as he said, put an end to the threat of Pineapple Pete. And that wasn't really so much the news coming out of this match. The actual story was the Stadium Stampede. The challenge was laid out. The Inner Circle challenged the Elite and Matt Hardy to a Stadium Stampede match. We're not exactly clear what that means. It's in the twisted mind of Jericho. But, JR, if I had to guess, there is quite the high potential for mayhem in a Stadium Stampede match.
Yes, the atmosphere is going to be amazing, because from what I hear, the rumor in Innuendo is that the ring is going to be set up on the 50-yard line at the stadium. And if that's indeed true, you got a 10-man tag team matches to cut to the chase. It's a 10-man tag in the middle of a football field. and you know that there's not going to be any rules to speak of. They can't have rules. Now you had a street fight 2 weeks ago, and how that delivered. You can't have a match now with regular rules. That would make no sense. So I'm anxious to see how this is going to go. I got to believe that they got to have a lot of long cable for the cameras, because I think these guys are going to go all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, and the lights on the stadium and the background, it's just going to be cool as hell to be on a legitimate NFL stadium that the Khan family runs, our bosses, and we're going to be able to see how that all plays out. The lights, the end zones, it's all going to be some cool stuff, man. So, but what you got, don't overthink it, is a magnificent 10-man tag. And I'm sure the rules are going to be more clarified next week when we're back live. But I'm thinking it's going to be the Wild West.
And I mean, Taz and JR, if I had to guess, since I've only been on the field of an NFL stadium one time, that you guys have been on the field quite a few more times than that. But when you look up and you just see how massive that structure is, I mean, Jericho said 80,000 seats in that stadium, plus, like everything else, the loge levels, the luxury boxes, all of these other things, they are potential danger zones for any of the competitors in the match, right, Taz?
Yeah, no doubt. It's I've wrestled in, the Georgia Dome, right? We used to do shows we've done Raw a couple times at the Georgia Dome. I remember that. And I remember like it falls you off a little bit. Like when you take
I got beat by China there with a pedigree.
At the Georgia Dome?
Georgia Dome, China beat me with a pedigree.
There
I
you
never
go.
got my win back. I'm pissed.
Did you get your shit in? No.
Hey, one thing about the stadium in Jacksonville, it would be very easy to observe social distancing. 80,000 seats. Take a seat. Just spread out, will you? Spread out.
It's going to be wild. I mean, it's just when you fall, like when you take a bump, when you fall in a structure that big is an echo. Like when you land, you're so used to hear, like, it's hard to explain. You take a bump, you hear the bump, you get up, whatever. In like a big building, like the stadium, like an NFL stadium, when you land, it's going to be an echo where you hear the fall. It sounds crazy. No one's ever done this. You hear the fall after, a little bit after. It's delayed. It kind of threw my timing off the first few minutes of the match, and then I kind of realized what was going on. So that's the only thing I would be aware of if I was in this match. But it's going to be really cool, I think, for fans at home that are watching the pay-per-view, watching Double or Nothing, because to the point you're making, Jared, it's going to be just this insane, gigantic, legitimate NFL stadium, Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. It's awesome. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I love the name. Stadium Stampede's cool.
And what we don't know what the rules are. Whatever the rules are, we have to know, though, that this is going to be a completely unique match. There's not many wrestling promotions in the history of the planet Earth that have access to a full-size NFL stadium. So there will be nothing like this ever before, or perhaps ever again. The only way to see it will be on Double or Nothing, May 23rd, pay-per-view, BR Live, Fight TV internationally. And JR, you mentioned social distancing kind of in a offhanded way, but I want to actually talk a little bit about the testing protocols and everything that we went through last week in Jacksonville, and how the staff there, our medical staff, the Jaguar staff, and even the city of Jacksonville really did such a great job making sure that everybody stayed safe and stayed healthy.
They sure did. You saw those yellow wristbands. I think you mentioned Xcalibur during the broadcast. That meant that you had taken your test and you passed. The red wristbands that people saw was that you passed your temperature test. And we got our temperature. We were there a couple of days last week, and we got our temperature taken both days. Everybody did the blood work, and then so we tried to also observe some social distancing. I think we can do better at that, quite frankly, at ringside. Guys have a propensity to huddle up, and that's why should probably be discouraged. Or they ought to have enough common sense not to stand beside each other, but nonetheless. But yeah, the testing is great, and we feel safe, and that we'll go through the same process the next time we gather. Like next week when we do TV Live, it'll be the same thing. Your temperature will be taken. All the doctors are going to be on site. So, and hell, if they want me to give more blood to check that, I'd be happy to, because I want to know that I'm either healthy or not, because I'm this high risk group. Well, JR's crazy to go back to work. He should have just stayed home. He's too old. If he gets sick, he won't make it. Well, bullshit. I don't know that to be true. And I don't know if I'm going to get it. And if I do get it, I'll fight like a son of a bitch to get healthy. Simple as that. But I want to work. And I think this pay-per-view is going to be one of the more exciting projects, exciting pay-per-views that I've ever been a part of. And boy, as you guys know, being the senior member of the team here, the old dog, I call a lot of pay-per-views. But this is just such a never before this atmosphere, guys. Never before this atmosphere. No fans. How are we going to make it work? Well, we'll show you on Saturday night, May 23rd. It's going to be awesome.
Yes, totally agree. And we all did feel safe. I mean, to the point both you guys are making, the company did a great job of, checking everybody out. And just to pull the curtain back even more, it was all done for those out there watching us before we even got to the arena. So it was done at the hotel the day before. And then when we got to the arena, we got checked off temperature.
I just didn't understand why I had to turn my head and cough when they're taking blood. It got extremely invasive and uncomfortable for a moment. But I said, look, you're a team player, JR. You're in the high-risk group. Just pucker up, so to speak, and handle it. Yeah. So that's what I did. I'm a soldier. Hey, those shaving cuts that MJF had, he's not the only guy that survived tough injuries here.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, by the way, speaking of tough, before I forget, and I will, I want to say a happy birthday to my boyhood hero, Danny Hodge. His birthday is today, and I love him. He was my first hero in pro wrestling. Taz probably had Bruno or whatever, whatever it was, right?
Bruno, yep. Bruno's the guy.
Who are you cheering for? Inoki?
No, I was a Macho Man guy.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. I met Danny Hodge when he was at one of the shows, JR. Maybe we were in Oklahoma City, I guess, and I had to shake his hand, and it's no lie. That man's hand, that grip strength is, and JR told me all the stories leading up to me meeting this guy. And when you meet this man and shake his hand, there's a thing with wrestlers. When you shake hands with someone, you kind of could feel like when they shake your hand, well, if this guy was in his prime and I was in my prime, what could I do with this guy? When you feel that grip strength on a guy's hand, like a Danny Hodge, you're like, ooh, I might have been in trouble against this man.
Well, he'd never been on an airplane until he went to Australia to represent, Helsinki to wrestle in the Olympics. He got screwed in the second time he went to the Olympics there was a German judge and a Russian wrestler or something. He got beat by a point or two, but they said it's one of the biggest travesties in the history of the Olympics. And if it happened in the era of ESPN and Fox and so forth, it would have been a massive outcry. The thing about Danny was that he didn't know what to do after amateur wrestling. He won 3 national titles, never lost a match, never was taken down, never was escaped. Think about that at D1 level. That's scary now.
It's amazing.
So then he didn't know what to do after wrestling. So he said, I think I'll take up boxing. Well, okay. So he takes up boxing and he wins the National Golden Gloves heavyweight title in 1960. So guess who else was boxing in that era? Cassius Clay, a.k.a. Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
So there was a rare opportunity where Hodge would have been the heavyweight and Muhammad would have been the light heavyweight, or vice versa, because Hodge could make the weight easily enough. But it didn't ever work out that way. But he's an amazing man, amazing athlete, and he was my first riding partner. He was my first partner. He taught me about saving money, about how to collect trance, how to hit the buffets toward the end of closing time, so let you eat more and longer. Good stuff, man. I love the guy, and he's still healthy, pretty healthy there in Perry, Oklahoma, the same town that Jake Hager's from.
How old is he?
I looked that up earlier today. He's getting close to 90.
Wow, jeez, God bless him.
And that's why when Jake Hager comes out, he is announced from the wrestling capital of the world. It's the home of Danny Hodge. And for a lot of our younger fans, if you don't know who Danny Hodge is, this is an excellent Wikipedia / YouTube deep dive. Right. Your time will be very well spent. He's led an extraordinary life. And just know that as soon as the broadcast ends, myself, JR, and Taz, we will all be crushing an apple with our one hand in honor of Danny Hodge.
I've been crushing grapes all day. I've been practicing. I got that great tendon strength. He is what Taz is talking about his strength. So he could grab your wrist like this, And I remember him grabbing me this way and said, he called me Tiger, for God's sakes, I don't know why. Hey, Tiger, Danny needs a milkshake. And I'd say, oh, God damn it, Danny, we're late. Cowboy's going to find us. He grabbed my wrist. What I do next? Looking for a Dairy Queen. He wanted a chocolate milkshake, and I wanted to buy him one. That's where he was. But my point I was going to make, we moved off this topic. But sometimes he would just get in a hand fighting, right?
Yeah.
Hand fighting or in an up position, an amateur match, and he'd grab your wrist, and guys would automatically go down because they had never felt pain like this. And people think I'm exaggerating. Oh, JR's guy, he's drunk again. He's talking about, no, this guy was real. And tearing the phone books and the pliers, breaking pliers. I never saw a pair of pliers you couldn't break, and the apples. I've seen all these things with my own eyes. So he's incredible. He's the greatest living pro wrestler / amateur pro wrestler that I've ever seen. I believe that today. I believe he's the best ever.
Well, JR, you were crushing grapes with your hands. I was crushing grapes by drinking a bottle of red wine, watching Dynamite. And we got to our main event matchup, Mr. Brody Lee defeating the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. And this match started out, it seemed to be very one-sided, but Daniels, I mean, never count Christopher Daniels out. He very nearly turned the table on Brody Lee, Taz.
Yeah, KG veteran, right? I mean, you hear that, we all say it as announcers. We use that term a lot, a kind of a throwaway cliche, but it's true with a guy with CD, like Christopher Daniels. He's, he's that veteran. He knows how to wiggle around in that ring and get himself in an offensive position, not always in a defensive position. He did that, utilized SCU also in Frankie and Sky also. So, but yeah, it came close, but not close enough. And Mr. Brody Lee he is so damn big and just takes up so much of that ring, and his range is insane. Deceivingly athletic in the ring, and just a violent man. So it just was a little too much, I think, for Daniels.
I can see Brody Lee being an amazing defensive end in the National Football League. 6'6", 271. What I'm impressed by him, guys, the most is his athleticism and the fact that he's got a very quick first step. Tonight he snapped off a big kick that caught CD in the face that happened in a blink of an eye. So he gets himself set, he gets his legs under him, he extends his leg all in one motion. And that takes athleticism. I mean, that's pretty damn challenging to do. So he's not a Clydesdale. He's a big thoroughbred. And I'm impressed by his game. I've always been impressed with his in-ring abilities. Before he came here, he apparently wasn't as respected as he should be. And now he's put on some size, he's got some mass. He's strong. I'm impressed by him, and I'll be honest with you. And before Brody came, I was not a Dark Order fan or cared what they're doing. Just be honest. I'm just telling you the truth. I don't mind being honest and show my ignorance. But now the Dark Order is an important entity. They're a faction that's going to be reckoned with. They're a faction that, if they don't hold the tag titles at some point in time, sooner than later, I'll be shocked. But that's not to say that Brody Lee is not going to be the next AEW champion either. You just can't say he's not. He's got too many tools. So it's going to be a fight. So now Moxley's not going to adjust his style. Mox is going to fight the son of a bitch. There's where the rubber meets the road, because he's fighting a much, much bigger, stronger guy. And you got to be careful when you get in those situations and want to stand and trade with a bigger person.
Yeah, and Mox has done that to a degree, with the Jake Hager, which was impressive. But I agree, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with a Brody Lee, Mr. Brody Lee. You got to be careful. We have, just a sidebar real quick, as far as bigger guys in the industry, guys like Hager, guys like Lance Archer, guys like Mr. Brody Lee, some big son of a bitches that are athletic and can move and will hit you and sting you. So along with, we're kind of like a great potpourri, our roster, our male side of things, with some guys that aren't as big, that are super athletic and tough as hell and young. So it's kind of a really cool mix, our locker room right now. But you mentioned tools. You're right. Mr. Brody Lee's got a lot of tools. And the one main tool he's got is he's kind of treating it almost like a prop. And that's the AEW World Championship, which is not his. He's even having Dasha announce him as the, whatever she said, the unofficial, I'm probably wording wrong, paraphrasing, champion. And then when Mox came in there, he he couldn't get his hands on Brody. He couldn't get his hands. 10 had the belt, couldn't get his hands on the belt on his championship, which has got to be super frustrating for Mox.
Yeah, look, that's going to be a good match, guys. It's going to be very physical, no doubt. I think Moxley's got that. He's been working hard on MMA, and I think he's not staying too far from where I am right now. So I'm down in Neptune Beach, modeling hammocks and speedos. Just strutting down the beach. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Who's that old guy? But I have a walker, so it's all right. I have a walker.
Who's that old old guy with the walker and the speedo and the black cowboy hat?
That's it. That's my gimmick.
90 degrees.
Yeah.
Hey, Taz, JR is a worker. He's worried about those tan lines.
Oh, he's a worker. He's a worker.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that Brody Lee does have possession of Jon Moxley's AEW World Championship title. He is the self-proclaimed AEW World Champion. And this is while Brody Lee and Jake Hager are very similar in size, stylistically, they couldn't be more different. Hager, of course, with that amateur wrestling and MMA background. Brody Lee is a pro wrestler through and through. He's a guy that I first came aware of when he was coming up through the independent scene in the Northeast, first around Rochester, New York, then branching out to Philadelphia, the Midwest, and that's ultimately his size is what got what put him on people's radar. But the thing about Brody Lee is he's got the speed and the agility, and then he also has that American indie style technique where it's a little faster paced, a little more high flying. He's got a great background in lucha libre. And so he is a very complete wrestler that I don't think many people know about. And so I know Jon Moxley knows about that. They came up on basically at the same time. And so it'll be interesting to see how Brody kind of incorporates these things that we know he's gotten, or that at least I know that he's got in his back pocket, that fans and specifically Jon Moxley might not be expecting.
And see, that's smart. See that, and you're right, and that's very smart by Mr. Brody Lee, that he keeps a lot of his arsenal in his pocket and doesn't just pour it all out on the table. And every match he's doing every high spot he has and every big move, and he gets his shit in. He's smart. He's sprinkling it in. He's taking his time with it, and he's keeping people wondering. And he just and we've seen Lance Archer do that. That's very smart. That's more longevity. Fans wanting more. Opponent is not a path for you. Very, very intelligent by Mr. Brody Lee.
Yeah, he's got the wrestling IQ. It's obvious, and he's another guy that has something to prove. He's known for a long time. Speaking of Brody Lee, not using too many pronouns here, but he's a very good wrestler. That he had great potential that had yet to be fully maximized, and now he's in a place where all that can happen. And he's going to be in a match that, if he wins it, everything he wanted to accomplish by leaving his former employ and coming here will be attained, be achieved. So he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. And I'm anxious to see how he handles that. But you know how Moxley's going to handle it. Full speed ahead, man. You're going to beat me. You're going to knock my ass out. You're going to pin me. But we're going to fight, and it will be a great fight. It might be as good as that fight in the movie McClintock, where John Wayne got hit and went down the. Come on, guys! You got to get some.
I know. Hey, listen, Turner Classic Movies was on in my household just about 24 hours a day. I know McClintock, so
yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Hey,
Man.
I want to thank. Also, it was nice tonight to show you the teamwork we have here, and because it means a lot to me, because it's not always been that way in my lifetime. Poor me. That is, the company promoted my book, and they didn't have to do that. And I only got my knees a couple of times, so it wasn't a big deal. But they didn't have to do it, and they did, and I appreciate it. So if anybody wants a signed copy with me paying the freight in the lower 48, jrsbbq.com. Simple deal. Plus, we got a big sale right now on all of our barbecue products, so 20% off. So check it out, save some money. And it's a pretty damn good read. I don't mind saying so myself. But I appreciate the company helping out.
Taz, we know from firsthand experience, You get that suplex sandwich. It's a little dry. It's a little tough, but you pour some of that main event mustard on it, man. It goes down smooth.
Yeah, can't still
You get some of that Chipotle. You get some of that Chipotle barbecue sauce that J.R.'s got. That shit's the real deal right there. You still have that, right?
Yeah.
You still got that Chipotle ketchup? Yeah, man. That stuff's great.
Hey, if you get a little ramekin, it's a small container, Taz, a ramekin.
Ramekin.
Where'd you put your mise en place in?
Put it in your microwave for about 15 seconds. The Chipotle ketchup. It warms it up, obviously, and makes a great steak sauce. It's got a little kick to it. Yeah.
Good to know, bro. Sounds good. I just cranked up the barbecue. I got a big outdoor kitchen gimmick, so I'm going to do what you just said. That's perfect.
Good. I love my outdoor kitchen.
Well, while we're shilling stuff, we might as well shill the stuff that we're here for. And that is next week on AEW Dynamite, Wednesday, 8/7 Central. We'll be back live from Jacksonville, Florida. Jake the Snake Roberts, Arn Anderson will be facing off for what I believe is the first time in the ring in their careers, which is a pretty shocking thing.
They're good. Look, they're arguably two of the very best all-time talkers in pro wrestling history. Some people have always said for years that Jake was always the best because you believed he was satanic. You believed he was possessed. And there might have been a good reason for that back in those days. And Arn Anderson is one of the most glib talkers. Arn Anderson was as good a talker in the Four Horsemen as anybody.
No doubt.
Those respected coaches for the finals of the TNT tournament. Arn will be there with Cody, I'm assuming, and Jake will be there, I'm assuming, with Lance Archer. If there's, so I'm just so excited about that segment next week with those guys because it's going to be the art. There's no writers. They're creating their content, and so now I'm anxious to see what kind of content they create. So it should be a hell of a show next Wednesday night.
I'm assuming we're live, correct? I'm assuming Tony Schiavone will be the moderator. He's the interview king, right? Oh. Where is Schiavone, by the way? Why is he not like on this post show? I'm a little confused.
We don't want to overexpose him, Taz.
Oh, that's it. Okay. All right. No problem.
And we knew if he was on the show, it would piss you off, and nobody wants to be around a pissed off Taz.
That's not true. So, the second part was true, not the first part. But okay, no, I like Tony, but sometimes he does get on my nerves a little bit. So, but I like him. How was that drive you guys did from Atlanta?
Great. We get along
That's it?
great.
Just great? Great.
That's it, just great. What did we say, Taz?
I mean, I want you to tell something.
We taped it. You'll be able to see it someday on the big screen. We have 2 lipstick cameras, like $20 cab, or it's called.
So Conrad set up the GoPros. They're called GoPros. He set up the GoPros. Yeah. That's what it was.
And
so
we went through Chick-fil-A. How much better can it be?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But why couldn't you guys just get in the big Suburban or Yukon or Escalade, whatever the hell you guys had, and just no cameras, no content that Conrad can do his thing, and just sit back, shoot the shit like 2 buddies?
We did. We taped it though.
Now, see. All right. So now I can't. So now me and Xcalibur and the audience can't hear nothing about this until it's dropped as a podcast.
It's great. We talked those stories. We knocked you a lot. I think the word insufferable came up a couple of times.
Oh,
but other than that, it's good. It's a good trip. You'd have loved it.
That's funny. All right. I'm looking forward to it. I'll check it out.
Well, next week on Dynamite, we also have MJF ahead of his meeting with Jungle Boy at Double or Nothing. He'll be taking on Marco Stunt. Not only that, a little bit of another preview for Double or Nothing. Orange Cassidy, Ray Phoenix going one-on-one. They'll be part of that big casino ladder match. Another unique matchup that we have coming up at Double or Nothing. This is the first of its kind. 2 men will start the match. Everybody will draw random numbers. 2 men will start the match. There will be a chip high above the ring. It's, a typical ladder match in that regard. The first person to grab the chip wins and gets the AEW World Championship title shot. But the interesting thing is that the match can end at any time. The first person to grab the chip, whether there's 2 men in the match or all 9 men in the match. So there's a lot of high stakes there. Typically in these type of matches, the higher the number you draw, the better off you are. But here it's the exact opposite, Taz.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting. I've been keeping my eye on the entrance, the combatants that are going to be in this. So it should be something pretty cool because there's going to be, like you just laid out, Excalibur, some different things going on than your traditional stuff you maybe seen in the past with something like this. Like a lot different than a regular ladder match, and obviously the opportunity to get an opportunity at the World Championship is massive. So it should be great as we learn more about who the wrestlers will be, the AEW stars that'll be in this.
And I think the Ray Phoenix match next week with Orange is going to be really good. A lot of fun, a lot of high flying. I'm going to go on out on a limb here. I think that the casino ladder match will end before all the participants have entered the ring. Because you don't have to wait till everybody gets there to enter. From the get-go. If you're the first and second entrant, you're the best spot in the whole house.
Right.
Because you can get rid of one guy, up the deal, grab the chip. It's a poker chip.
Right.
Then you're in the money and the match is over. I believe that's going to happen. I think somebody is going to be sucking hind teat, waiting in the wings to come out there to hear their music, and the match is going to go ding, ding, ding. It's over.
A lot of times, and you guys notice a lot, and to your point, Gerald, a lot of the times in these type of matches, if you're the last person to come out, it's to your benefit. In this case, it's not. There needs to be more of a sense of urgency.
Right.
Yeah, your odds are much better if you only have 2 opponents versus 8 other opponents in the matchup. So not only that, we'll have another preview of Double or Nothing with Matt Hardy going one-on-one with Sammy Guevara. This will, of course, be a little looking glass into what we can expect from the Stadium Stampede match at Double or Nothing. And you have to imagine Sammy Guevara would like to give Matt Hardy a little bit of a receipt for speeding in that golf cart.
Ran his face over. I mean, you guys called it. But just think about that. I mean, for wrestling fans, Sammy G versus Matt Hardy, who would have thought that they'd ever see a match like this? And only in AEW you're going to see that, because Matt Hardy's with the company now, and Sammy G is a big-time star in the inner circle in AEW. So I just think in itself, just putting aside Double or Nothing for a second, it's so cool to see, 2 athletes like this that are so different than each other, different in age, different in experience, different in places they've worked, that they're going to, have this. It's going to be an excellent match next week live on TNT.
Matt Hardy has been wrestling longer than Sammy Guevara has been alive. Think about that as we close the show tonight.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And Hardy was one of the pioneers of the that high flying style that Sammy Guevara likes to employ. So it's not Matt Hardy's first rodeo. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares in his first singles match here in All Elite Wrestling. But our main event next week, Jon Moxley, the AEW World Champion. It's important to remind people that because he doesn't actually have the title belt. We'll be taking on Preston Vance, number 10 of the Dark Order. And with Mr. Brody Lee at ringside, the man who possesses the AEW World Championship title. It'll be interesting to see if Moxley can keep his focus on the task at hand, or if he'll get distracted, if he'll keep attacking Brody Lee, or how any of this will all play out. It sounds like we've got a pretty exciting episode of Dynamite lined up next week to lead us right into Double or Nothing on May 23rd.
Can't wait, guys. It should be fun. I'll see you guys back here in Jacksonville. I'm loving it. I ain't left yet. I don't leave until the 29th, for God's sakes. Am I tan? Do I look tan, guys?
You look great. You look great. Yeah. Remember that shirt, double X. Double X. No, you look great, Joe, and we'll see you next week, man. When we get down there, Excalibur and I, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we'll see everybody live back next Wednesday night, 8/7 Central on TNT for AEW Dynamite. And just to kind of bookend the show, just want to remind everybody the big news that we talked about at the top at Double or Nothing on May 23rd, pay-per-view, BR Live, Fight TV internationally. Iron Mike Tyson will be on hand to present the title belt to the first ever TNT champion. It will either be Cody, the American Nightmare, or the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer. Only way to see it will be on pay-per-view on May 23rd. It will be a night that you don't want to miss. So for myself,
I think Tyson's going to knock somebody out.
Hope it's not me.
He's going to come empty-handed. You're gonna knock it may be you. That Red Hook Brooklyn rivalry.
Hey, JR, I need a favor. All kidding aside. So this is rare that a guy from Oklahoma needs to introduce two
I'll
guys
get
from
you his
Brooklyn.
autograph, Pete.
No, I don't need his autograph. We need to meet though. We need to talk. I have some
Okay.
mutual friends. I just need you to introduce me to the guy. I don't want to look like a mark going up to him. You know what I mean? That's all. Simple.
I'll take care of you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I'll take care of you.
All right.
All right, for myself, Excalibur, for the Human Suplex Machine, Taz, and for the very magnanimous, the best-selling author, the Hall of Fame voice of pro wrestling, Jim Ross. Thank you guys for joining us here tonight, and we'll see you back live next week on Dynamite.